So remind me again how intuitive eating is better than diet culture. I'll wait. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I am so happy to have each and every one of you here with me again this week. If you are new here and this is the first time you are seeing my face, welcome. I make weekly videos dissecting internet nonsense, so if you're into that type of thing or you like today's video, I hope that you'll consider liking and subscribing. It really helps out the channel and make sure that you never miss another upload from me. Well, it has been quite some time since we talked about fat activist THINfluencers on the channel, because that fat acceptance press was just too hot at the end of the year, and it very much still is. There are so many things that I want to talk about with you all, but your girl can only make weekly content right now. Real life job is very overwhelming in this season of the year, so we're just trickling through, but I promise we're gonna hit it all. If you've never heard of a fat activist THINfluencer before, let me explain. I define fat acceptance THINfluencers as thin or mid-sized women on the internet who are mostly on TikTok, who like to use fat acceptance talking points and appeal to that audience, mostly to sell their product or promote their business. Often, you'll see these women promoting intuitive eating like it's a one-size-fits-all program. Sometimes they'll be comparing fast food to actual protein-laden food. It's a really weird thing that they do. Or you'll see them giving very broad and generalized diet advice, like everyone who comes across their content is just like them. Thin, and only ever having dealt with restrictive behaviors or disorders. In my opinion, these THINfluencers are some of the worst offenders on the internet when it comes to the fat acceptance movement, because they're often using the same harmful rhetoric and leading people to the same harmful behaviors, but they are doing it under the guise of being better than diet culture. And they do it while actively making money off of their very vulnerable audience. Today, I want to revisit one of our old friends, someone we've talked about on this channel before, and really, until this point, the only Sam I've ever found online who's not allowed to sit with us.
You can't sit with us!
Her name is Sammy, and she is the founder and owner of Find Food Freedom, which is an intuitive eating clinic. If you don't know who Sammy is, allow me to give you a brief introduction. She is someone who leans into her credentials a lot, telling her audience over and over and over again that she is a dietitian, a certified intuitive eating counselor, and a certified personal trainer. She has openly acknowledged her past as a weight-centric dietitian and personal trainer. She's even told us that she really only started doing the work and breaking out of that model since 2020, where she re-emerged fat positive and ready to smash diet culture. Sounds all too familiar, doesn't it? If you've never seen Sammy's content before, if you've not seen my other video on her, I will try to remember to link it down below. But there is a thing that she does, and you will hear it in the clips that we'll cover today. She often refers to bodies as residing in a larger body or residing in a smaller body. And it drives me up the wall, because being in a fat body is not a condo, it's a body. Like, residing in is such a weird use of language, and I've noticed a lot of fat activists, after hearing people like Sammy kind of using language like this, have adopted it, and it's kind of a way for them to take a step away from it, and it's another way for them to kind of justify themselves, right? They are separate from their bodies, they only reside here. It's not their fault that their body is a larger body. It's freaking weird, and she is one of the most pervasive users of this language, and it has since spread into the fat acceptance community. So you're gonna hear that, and just know every time, for me, it's like nails on a chalkboard. I hate it. Before we get into the deep dive today, though, I do want to say once again that I don't think all of Sammy's messaging is harmful. I think it's possible to be two things at once, and some of her messaging is really great because she does try to focus on behavior that could lead to weight loss. Now, the way she talks about it is a little strange, but focusing on hydration, focusing on sleep, focusing on getting more nutrient-dense foods, focusing on getting movement. None of those things are bad. And so some of her messaging is really encouraging and could really be helpful to people. But that doesn't mean that she's not also problematic and that some of her messaging is bad. Like, the two things can be true at the same time. And that's what I want to talk about today. Have you ever listened to someone who's just talking and talking without really saying anything? If you have, buckle up. If you haven't, you're about to. Let's take a look at this clip together.
That plays a substantial role in causing disease. We're going to myth bust this together. My name's Sam. I'm a registered dietitian, certified intuitive eating counselor, and certified personal trainer. And I often see comments like this or get questions like this all the time. But what if I need to lose weight for my health? Well, first of all, I'm here to tell you that weight does not equate to health. If this were true, then everybody that resided in a smaller body would have a perfect clean bill of health, would never have a medical disease or condition, and everybody that resides in a larger body would have every medical disease and condition.
Sorry to interrupt that so soon, but what did she just say? Because what I heard was her saying if weight and health were equated, that would mean that every thin person would have no medical condition or health disease, and that fat people would have every medical condition and disease. It's gonna be really hard to take her seriously after that, but let's keep going.
When we look at the research with body size and disease, it is true that many diseases are found more commonly in people that reside in larger bodies. That, however, does not mean that the size of the body caused the disease. Much of the evidence on this topic is based on epidemiologic research, and we know that this type of research shows association, not causation. Let's remove weight and health from this conversation and use an example where we see this flaw in research. Let's take male pattern baldness. We know through research that men that are bald have a higher risk of cardiovascular disease, or CVD. No, we don't look at that and say, baldness causes cardiovascular disease. When we look at the research further, we see that bald men have higher levels of testosterone, and high levels of testosterone increase the risk of CVD. Testosterone is the confounder that explains the relationship between the male pattern baldness and CVD.
Okay, so we just collectively wasted those brain cells together. I am so sorry about that, because that is time that none of us will ever get back into our lives. But I needed you to hear it, to hear how ridiculous she sounds making this argument. And I'm going to prove that by using her own reasoning, but substituting the male pattern baldness back with weight and health, the thing that she purposefully excluded. Let's look at her argument one more time without removing them from the equation. We know from research that people who are fat have a higher risk of cardiovascular disease, heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, and more. We don't look at that and say, fatness causes disease. When we look at the research further, we see that fat people have higher rates of inflammation, higher blood pressure, and are potentially insulin resistant. And higher rates of inflammation and high blood pressure and insulin resistance increase the risk for diseases like diabetes, heart disease, and so on. Fat is the confounder that explains the relationship between fatness and disease. Do you all see what she did there? Do you see that she had to take weight and health out of the equation and switch to this weird thing about male pattern baldness and testosterone? Because if she had left weight and health in the equation, she would have just said what I just said. We used her exact setup. And the conclusion is that the fat is the confounder because it causes inflammation. It produces excess hormones. It stops us from being able to absorb and do things with insulin the way that we're supposed to. It's the confounder. And she could not say that because if she had, she would have undone her entire platform. her entire argument and essentially her entire business model. And in my opinion, she is fully aware of what she's done, because she proceeded to list confounders that directly appeal to the audience that she's seeking. The things she listed included weight stigma, discrimination, oppression, and so on. Tell me it's all about making money for your business without telling me it's all about making money for your business. But perhaps the worst part of all of this for me is that she made this video in response to a very real comment made by a very real person asking a genuine question, which is, what if I'm being told I need to lose weight for my health? Sammy does not know who this person is. They could have been told by their doctor, look, you're pre-diabetic. The best way for you to back up from the pre-diabetic blood work that we're seeing is to clean up your diet and lose weight. Because if you don't, you will move into diabetes. That could have been a very real conversation that this person had with their doctor. And then they made this comment, and now they've got an online creator who needs to make money by telling people they don't need to lose weight, they can just do intuitive eating. And all she's done is muddy the waters and potentially make this person feel confused, potentially make this person feel lost. They might not know where to turn now. How does this video benefit anyone? And did it make anything better for the person who left the comment? And I think this is the overarching issue that I have with Sammy and her content, is that it's not actually beneficial to the audience she is targeting, which we know is the plus size and fat acceptance community. Take, for example, this video.
In the beginning of your intuitive eating journey, you fear that you're going to eat cake, pizza, cookies, chips all the time. Like, you can't even fathom craving a vegetable or wanting something that's nutrient dense. But it does happen, and that's actually a symptom of more of an advanced intuitive eater, is once you have food exposure to those fun foods, those play foods, the things that diet culture calls crap or junk that you're not allowed to have for years and years and years, then they lose control over you, and you get to start listening to your body and listening to, what do I actually want right now? And sometimes that is going to be cake, pizza, cookies, all those things. And sometimes it's going to be crunchy, crisp vegetables.
So her blanket message here is that if you do intuitive eating long enough and you allow yourself to eat all of the junk foods like cookies and cake and pizza and whatever else she lists, eventually your body will begin to crave nutrient-dense foods. I think, honestly, what drives me the most batty here is that she is speaking in absolutes. Like, everyone she's talking to has had a similar experience to her experience. But she doesn't know who her audience is at all. This person whose comment she responded to could be super morbidly obese and need to lose weight for health. And again, Sammy's muddied those waters. And we know that she's actively targeting the plus size, fat acceptance, overweight, obese community. She makes it clear. But she has no experience being overweight, being super morbidly obese, or even living in a fat body. And she has admitted that at some point.
Now, let's break it down that I recognize that I have thin privilege. I reside in a straight size body. I do not understand what it's like to be in a larger body.
If you've never been 300 plus pounds, you don't understand what the day-to-day life is like. And if you've been eating a diet for years and years and years that is mostly fast food, mostly hyper-palatable foods, mostly convenience foods, you may not actually remember what those nutrient-dense foods taste like, because you're not getting a lot of them in your diet, unfortunately. And I think, for me, it's the fact that Sammy doesn't realize that someone who has lived this way for so many years is not going to just start craving nutrient-dense foods the way that a thin person would, who's only dealt with restrictive issues. They are different, and she consistently treats them as though they're the same. And for me, it's the way she makes people feel like, well, just listen to your body. It'll get you there eventually. Just listen to your body. It's not that hard. You'll get there. Intuitive eating is the answer for everyone. It's so easy. Anyone could do it. Or is it? Because in another video, she tells us this.
You tried intuitive eating and all that's happening is you're eating all of the food everywhere around you. You feel out of control and you're just flailing. You really don't know what to do next, but you know that you don't want to diet anymore. And I got something for you. I often find that when people try an intuitive eating journey without a professional, hi, I'm a registered dietitian and certified intuitive eating counselor, by the way, that it can feel really hard because you're not supposed to know what you're doing.
Okay. There it is, the admission that people can't do intuitive eating on their own the way she's been promoting it. In another video, just like this one, I will spare us that time and just let you know what she said. She essentially says where she sees people getting stuck the most is when they get to that first principle of intuitive eating and they just say, you know what, I'm not going to diet anymore. And then they start eating all the food and then they cannot stop eating all of the food that they're not allowed to eat when they're on a diet. So pizza, cake, cookies, junk food, essentially. That's where she sees people get stuck. And then that's when they say intuitive eating is not for them or it hasn't worked. So this, in my opinion, is her admitting that her own blanket messaging of intuitive eating is not beneficial and it's not helping people, and that leading people to intuitive eating who are going to try to do it on their own could lead them into harmful behaviors that could cause them to gain weight. She has just admitted that, and she does it on her channel quite a bit, where she will say things like, yeah, they get stuck in there and then that's when they gain weight and then that's when they think it doesn't work. But the truth is it does work. They're just mentally restricting or they're just blah. Putting the blame on that person the same exact way that diet culture does. So remind me again how intuitive eating is better than diet culture. I'll wait. I have one more example of why I think this messaging is harmful, so please take a look at this clip.
This is a friendly reminder that you don't need to wait until Saturday to allow yourself to eat a bagel and cream cheese. You can have a bagel and cream cheese whenever you want it. You could have a bagel and cream cheese on a Monday, Tuesday, holiday, work day, vacation day, sick day. Doesn't matter. It's just carbohydrates that fuel your body, that give you energy, and bring you joy, too. So cheers.
Now, her message in this video is not inherently false, but once again, it is potentially a blanket message that could be providing validation to someone who has overeating behaviors to tell them that they can and they should eat a bagel every day. So if someone is stuck in that cycle that she's just talked about in her previous video, she is now providing those people validation. And I'm going to use another fat activist, even though the two things are unrelated, to make my point. I don't know if any of you know of Dump Truck Jordan, but she is a fat creator on TikTok who regularly posts what I eat in a day as a fat person videos. And I had saved a few of these at one point because I thought I might do a video about Dump Truck Jordan, but the truth is she swears a lot. I do find her really funny, but she swears a lot and she uses copyrighted music, so it would just make it too difficult to cover without having to bleep everything. But I did have a couple of these videos saved because one of her favorite meals to promote in these videos that she was making was that she would eat a cream cheese bagel with extra cream cheese every day, and she would put salami or other processed meats on top of it.
What I eat in a day is a fat Let's go. Look at the bagussi. Now, I know y'all know what I'm talking about because you tagged me in the video, but my 5 legs bitches did it right this morning. Look at all that cream cheese. Oh, God, it was immaculate. Oh, look. It's like a reward. I also had a bagel, cream cheese, and salami. The bagel's not toasted. The bagel's a cream cheese vehicle. I don't know what you want me to tell you. The shit's delicious. Eat it.
Now, again, this is a little unfair because we don't know if this actually happened, but I'm using it as an example. Dump Truck Jordan is a person who could have likely seen Sammy's content And again, this advice is making her feel like, oh yeah, this is fine. I'm fat and I'm not trying to lose weight and it doesn't matter because I'm still healthy. So yeah, I'm gonna eat a bagel with cream cheese and salami on it every single day. And only recently, Jordan has come out and said this.
Hi, my name's Jordan. I'm 25 and being fat led me to having cancer.
If someone like Jordan has been watching Sammy's content, they are being told over and over and over again by Sammy that they can and should eat whatever they want, that processed foods can be health promoting, and that the excess fat on their bodies is not going to cause them health problems. Jordan shared specifically that she has uterine cancer. And if you didn't know, adipose tissue and fat tissue on your body, specifically if it's in your stomach, can produce excess estrogen. And excess estrogen often leads people to have issues with their reproductive systems, like uterine cancer. And this is why messaging like Sammy's can be so harmful. And the internet in general can be harmful because there were so many people who were pumping Jordan up, who really liked these videos. Again, even I thought she was funny, even if I didn't agree with what she was eating. She's just a hilarious person. She's young, right? She's feisty and cursing and doing all the things and hating her office life. Things that people can actively relate to. But people were really pumping up this content. And there were a lot of other fat women making content very similar. What I eat in a day as a fat person who's not trying to lose weight. But what people tend to overlook is that if you watch a what I eat in a day video from someone like Sammy, it is very, very different to what you're seeing in the what I eat in a day as a fat person videos.
What I eat in a day as a fat... Okay, I had Starbucks again. Thank you. And then I had all you can eat sushi, and yeah, it was a buffet. Fat was like buffet. And I came home and ate chips. Then for dinner, I had chicken nuggets because I'm too lazy to cook real food.
And that stems from them having experienced two distinct disordered patterns. Restrictive and overeating are very different. And one of them, Sammy has openly acknowledged she has never dealt with or experienced. All of this is just another clue for us to add to our handy dandy notebook, where we've ultimately figured out that Sammy really is not all that helpful. She is just another random dietitian on the internet trying to say that she's not diet culture while sowing the same seeds of doubt and confusion that everyone who is entrenched in diet culture also does. I've said it before, I will say it again. I think anti-diet culture is just as bad for people as diet culture because there's too much confusion and people don't know where to go. And while people like Sammy want to be above it all, they're right there in the trenches with the people they say they hate the most. All right, that is all I have for you guys today. At this point, I'm curious to know, have you seen Sammy's content before? What do you think about her language about residing in a larger body or a smaller body? Because honestly, it drives me bonkers. I'm also curious if you know that she is still, to this day, just last month, promoting really harmful fat activists like Fat Doctor UK. I am really, really curious to see how people feel about that because they are one of the most toxic people I've ever come across. So for Sammy to be like, yeah, I'm great, and then promote someone who's super toxic is just weird to me. So I'm curious to see what you think about that. And finally, what do you think about the way that she equates restrictive behaviors to overeating behavior? I would love to hear from you all. You know I love reading your opinions. You come with such great perspective. It's one of the reasons I really love this little community that we've built. So please do tell me how you're feeling in the comment section. You know I'll be there right after this video goes up. And for all my introvert friends out there who might not feel comfortable leaving their opinion in an internet comment section, I see you, I feel you. Go ahead and leave me some sort of emoji that lets me know how you're feeling after you watch this video. Are you feeling confused? Are you feeling angry that there are dietitians on the internet who are sowing these seeds of doubt amongst consumers? Are you just feeling like doing a little dance? Leave me an emoji and let me know, because I love seeing your emojis just as much as I love reading those opinions. As always, thank you all so much for being here with me today. I will see you in the next one. Bye.